Hey, GM everyone. Hey, Cruz. We're just waiting on one other participant here, Ramon from Babylon, so just hang tight.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to FuruRadio today. Happy to be on.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So you guys been keeping busy, Cruz? What are you up to over at Index Coop?
Yeah, no question about it. Been releasing a lot of products this year. We build structured products on Ethereum, and it's been plenty of volatility to navigate.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, awesome. Ramon's here now from Babylon, so as long as he's good to go, then we can get started here.
Hey, thank you for having me. How's it going?
Good. Yourself?
Good. Surviving this crazy market.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Seems like every algorithmic stablecoin on the market's kind of depegging at once. So just to add to the fire.
Yeah. Hopefully we are close to the end of these crazy times, but it always can get worse. So you never know.
Yeah, for sure. But we're all here building and looking to create better products for DeFi. So that's what we're all here about, or what we're here today to learn more about, right? Is funds in DeFi and how different protocols are looking at building that out. So we're joined here today with Ramon from Babylon and Cruz from Index Coop. So thank you both for being here. Maybe we can just do some introductions for people that aren't aware of what you're building and who you are. Maybe just introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your project, what you guys have now, what you're working on, how blockchain technology is helping you, achieve your goals. So did you want to start off with that, Ramon, and we'll get to Cruz after?
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick. Basically, about me, I've been working in the Valley for the last decade doing different products. I work for Zynga, working on games. I had a web startup before, and I was acquired by Zynga. Then I also worked for Google, where I was leading a team in the Google Cloud org. And eventually I worked for Y Combinator, where I was mostly focused on helping founders build startups, crypto startups. And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been totally focused on crypto, where I cannot think about anything else. One of the things that brought me to crypto actually is when I was working at Zynga. And Zynga was famous because of games like Farmville or Words with Friends back in the day. And at some point one night, Facebook changed the algorithm overnight and kind of kill Zynga's revenue, and it reduced it like 80%. So it became really apparent that if you are developing in a platform that belongs to others, then you are not free. You're basically at the whim of that company. So then it became really important to build on a credible, neutral platform. And that's what Ethereum or Bitcoin or these blockchains offer. And then I also became, a bit later, really interested in startups and really interested also in finance. And crypto is really stimulating because it's kind of where all these things merge together. The history of money, what is money, how we can coordinate people at a scale. Because I see blockchain kind of the evolution of coordination. At the beginning, it was only people, stories. Then we created the Dutch India company a few centuries ago. And then we could coordinate even more people. And then in the last hundreds of years, then a lot of evolution of these concepts that we could even create larger and larger companies. But now, thanks to blockchain, you can even coordinate more people at the scale, thanks to blockchain, because in the end allows people to coordinate at the scale through incentives. That is something that always broke down in companies, because you have the employees and you have the shareholders and you have what is known as the principal agent problem, where there is usually a disconnect, and this can be solved through blockchains. So then, in the last 2-3 years, I saw a lot of opportunities in DeFi, and I was always telling my friends and my family about DeFi and all the opportunities. So I was the guy that never cannot stop talking about crypto. So my friends every 2 months or every 3 months would come to me and ask me, "Oh, is this a good time to buy? Should I buy Cardano? Should I buy Monero? Should I buy this coin or other coin?" And eventually it got really tiring. So yeah, I'm sure many of you relate. And it's like they usually ask you for advice at the worst possible time.
Yeah, for sure. And then complain, what the heck, man, I'm down 80%.
Exactly. And then at times like now, nobody wants to hear anything. They don't want to buy. They don't want to. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So then, because I was seeing all these opportunities in crypto, but how it's really difficult for normal people to take advantage of them, I decided to create this simple smart contract and create a Telegram channel. And I told my friends, okay, just deposit money here and we'll manage it together. And this kind of small experiment, MVP, went really well. This was also when Ethereum, this was at the beginning of the pandemic and Ethereum was going up a lot. And then this experiment went really well. And then is, okay, how can I take this further? So this is not only for my friends, but it's also for anyone. So then Babylon becomes this protocol that helps people take advantage of opportunities in DeFi. And the way we are doing it is we are kind of rethinking asset management from scratch. There are other protocols, like Enzyme was the original one in the asset management space that has been for 4 or 5 years, and I'm a huge fan of them. But their focus has been porting hedge funds more or less on chain, and there is a huge value add because there is a lot of efficiencies that you can add with the blockchain. As at Babylon, we took a more community-centered approach and also like a first principles approach, because we are kind of breaking a lot of rules that hedge funds have. For example, like there needs to be a single manager, there needs to be like the 220 fees, and we offer a lot more flexibility. For example, you can create an investment club that operates like a DAO, so where you have members that deposit and then they receive tokens, and then once you're a member, you can suggest an investment idea or a strategy, and then other members in that investment club can say, "Oh, this is a really good idea," and vote for it. And then if it requires enough capital, if it receives enough votes, it will receive the capital from the investment club and then put it to work. And Babylon is really flexible because you can create a hedge fund, you can create a mutual fund, you can create a treasury for your DAO, or you can create basically something, a closed-end fund for your friends where you only allow a select list of addresses to operate with it. Another thing that I would say is like you can also compare Babylon with Yearn in the sense that we simplify all the opportunities available in DeFi, and then we offer these simple vaults that we call gardens that are these powerful investment clubs. But then strategies in Babylon can create these strategies through our no-code UI. So in Yearn, for example, you need to know how to code Solidity or how to code Viper, and then you need to submit the code, and then they will audit it, and then you will have this strategy running. In Babylon, you can use our no-code UI, and you can say, for example, okay, I want to lend money on Compound, and I want to borrow DAI, and then I want to put this to work on Carve and Complex. So we have this no-code UI that you can use to create strategies. And I'll stop there because this is a lot. So I'll let Cruz go, and then we can go deeper.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Thank you very much for the introduction.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ramon. So I'm Cruz. I'm a contributor at Index Coop. Before crypto, I worked in software at an analytics company and then on supply chain software, kind of across product management roles. Could summarize it as such. Joined Index Coop a little over a year ago in early 2021. Index Coop is a DAO that builds structured products on Ethereum. If Babylon is DeFi meets kind of a hedge fund tools, Index Coop is like DeFi meets index products or structured products. So like DeFi meets BlackRock or Vanguard, something like that. So we build index tokens or tokenized strategies that you can buy and hold in your wallet as a simple ERC20 token. A little bit similar to Babylon in that we have kind of tokenized strategies. We have yield products. We have kind of a more traditional index token that gives you broad exposure to themes, right? So our first big product was the DeFi Pulse Index. It's just a sectoral index of top DeFi protocols. Got things like Aave, Yearn, Compound, etc. inside of it. That was our first product. Then we did a Metaverse Index. We did a 2x leveraged ETH products. Now we have 2x leverage and inverse leverage products for ETH, Bitcoin, and Matic. And then most recently, we released an NFT index and an ETH, IC ETH, interest compounding ETH product that kind of automates a leverage staking strategy that goes long staked ETH and then borrows ETH against it. So that one's been under a bit of pressure lately with the staked ETH starting to trade at a discount, but it's still churning out, 2 to 3x the normal staking rewards you get on staked ETH, and automatically rebalances using our automated risk management tools. So the kind of the value proposition of Index is all these products that you can just buy and hold in your wallet, kind of for the passive investor that wants to make their money work for them in DeFi.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very cool for sure. And just to kind of talk about what I like about that is you can have a structured product or a fund management system, and you can kind of integrate these index tokens as well. So, in a sense, kind of working together to create a more diverse project. So, or a fund anyways. But so definitely interesting what you guys are working on, and it's kind of niche, right? So super cool. So definitely glad to have you here talking about Index Coop and Ramon from Babylon. So we can kind of get right into the questions here then. So, I think the fund space is relatively new and kind of just taking off. It hasn't got maybe a lot of media attention from people in the crypto world. But, we see in the kind of the traditional markets that, hedge funds, mutual funds are probably, one of the largest markets in the traditional finance. So, will we see kind of DeFi getting there? So like are these structured products an important innovation for DeFi? And, is this an important step to becoming more robust in the DeFi space? So that's the first question. If you have any thoughts on that, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, sure. It's something that I spend a lot of time thinking about. I mean, first I would like to say that it's really early in general for the whole ecosystem, for crypto, for DeFi, and especially for the asset management space. And as you say, in TradFi, asset management is by large the largest total addressable market in finance, retail finance for sure. And in crypto, is actually within DeFi is probably one of the smallest niches, and I think that's because of the people that have come to crypto so far. If you follow the S-curve adoption model that usually all the technologies go through, means that first you go through the phase where early adopters adopt the technology, and these are people that usually know the technology deeply, so they prefer to do things themselves. Then you have the early majority, the late majority, and then finally the laggards. As more people come into the space, I think these people are going to prefer to delegate this responsibility, the risk management, and they don't want to deal with all the pain of having to automate these strategies or having to pay the gas, having to deal with hacks, having to worry about security, how to store your funds securely, how to move them. So I think the asset management is going to grow normally. One thing I would say is like DeFi has a lot of advantages versus TradFi. The how quick funds move, how you can how transparent it is because you can see what's going on, who is naked, and that's why things like CeFi and Celsius kinda are a weird hybrid because they're kinda using the worst of both worlds. You have like CeFi, but that uses DeFi, but without communicating clearly what are the risks and being transparent about what they are holding and what they are not holding. So going back to DeFi, I think all of our advantages are not going to matter until we protect the users, because it doesn't matter that if we offer the risk-free rate in crypto, because of all the yielding and the need for borrowing, it's like double or triple what is in TradFi. If then we lose all the users' money in things like Luna or hacks or other things. So I think the space really needs to mature from the risk management point of view, from security point of view, and from an insurance point of view. And I think that's a place where structured products, like I'm a big fan of what Indes is doing in general, Enzyme also. And I think this space is just going to grow massively. And the good thing for all of us building this kind of tooling is like comparing to other protocols like the curve wars, asset management is kind of like a win-win, because all of us, we're going to put our money to work in other DeFi protocols. So naturally, our relationship is a much more positive and a positive sum game for everyone than other corners of DeFi where it can be a more competitive space. And I will stop there.
Yeah, I think at Index Coop, we say our mission is to make crypto investing simple, safe, and accessible for everyone. Structured products definitely has potential to solve a lot of the mental burden and kind of mental overhead for investors trying to get broad exposure to crypto. If you look in traditional finance, asset management is just orders of magnitude larger than kind of retail individual investors per se. Definitely, we believe not everyone is meant to be like a full-time investor. It's one of the craziest things about kind of the modern economy is to maintain your net worth, you kind of need to be a professional investor. So we think like one of my favorite value propositions of like the Bitcoin camp is that Bitcoin is an automated savings account. If you're a teacher or a doctor or something, you should be able to just protect your savings in a simple asset that doesn't get inflated away like dollars do. So kind of in the fiat world, you have to constantly be investing just to not be going backwards against inflation. And that's why people turn to financial advisors and index investing and the traditional stock market and whatnot, because they don't want to be full-time in the weeds managing those positions. So definitely have been very excited to solve problems for users in that respect. And so far it's been tough to kind of create the simple products that are going to protect people's savings. If you look in crypto, everything kind of follows the liquidity of Bitcoin and Ethereum and becomes quite correlated. So things like stable coins become really important, and we're working on building out our suite of stablecoin yield products to have those options on the table and in everyone's wallets and portfolios. Of course, it's important to have products that hedge downside exposure. So far we've got some inverse tokens that haven't seen huge traction, of course, because one of the troubles with this being so early, the early majority using our products are people that are, very excited about crypto and want to be long crypto. But would love to see greater adoption of kind of our more defensive products and really round out a full portfolio of products that folks can hold in their wallet and just maintain balanced exposure to crypto over time.
Awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, it's as an investor, it's even if you're an expert, it's interesting to kind of put your money with a fund or a fund manager in the space, just because you kind of get that you can lower your risk and you can kind of have a more diverse portfolio. But then going back to Ramon's point initially, when I talk to my friends, tell them to invest, most of them are still confused of how to get involved, even how to just set up a wallet. So once the fund management or structured products, industry gets more mature, it's just going to become easier and easier, and more people are going to kind of jump on board. So I think it could be a big catalyst for bringing over more traditional investors or older people or people that don't really understand how to get involved in crypto. And, there's likely going to be some regulatory hurdles to get over, which we'll talk about a little bit later, some more, because I think that's pretty important topic in this when you're developing a product like this, right? So, and then that's we've talked a lot about the retail side, but there's also the whole institutional side, and how are they going to utilize structured products and kind of use that as a way to get involved, or maybe banks creating their own funds and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of use cases and interesting things that are going to be going on here in the space in the next could be next year to 5 years. I think it's going to be really huge. So personally, I think it's an incredibly important innovation, and like was mentioned, we're super early here. So it's one of those things, if you can get in now, you're kind of going to be laughing later, I think, either way. So so that's kind of the positives about the fund systems or structured products. Like, what are the challenges then when creating a structured product system is the next question.
I can go first on this one. I would say building crypto index products, the top challenges are liquidity. It's hard to build an index of all of the themes that people want, because there's not enough on-chain liquidity in these assets to comfortably rebalance in and out of positions. If you think about kind of the monthly or quarterly rebalances in our passive indexes like DPI, all this can kind of lead to a little bit of slippage that kind of gets passed on to the user. Gas fees can be crazy for rebalancing, of course, and then beyond that, just like taking a more higher level look, like it's quite hard to build an index of such an emergent theme or industry like DeFi, where everything is so correlated. You maybe aren't getting quite the diversification that you thought you did. Ramon, what challenges come to mind for you?
Really similar. Yeah, I would say liquidity is number one, and then I would say volatility is another one, because it's related to the yield in DeFi. That in a way also all the liquidity and all the capital is kind of mercenary capital, and they go to the highest yield today, that it may be 10%, and tomorrow maybe 20%, and they switch from one place to another. And users right now, because again, we go back to these early adopters that know how to do. So today Convex launches a new pool and they see that it's 44% APY, so they demand access to that APY. But trying to chase those products get you into this volatility. Managing volatility is really important, because an asset can go from $2 to $200 in the span of 2 months. But if it does that with a high volatility, you can basically die before you get there, and before you can reap the benefits. And users, I think, have been focused too much on the yield without taking into account what is the risk that they are incurring, what is the volatility. Things like Sharpe ratio that are really important in finance. We need to do better in DeFi to explain what is the price that you're paying for that yield, and then letting users, we can still offer structured products that cater to all the different audiences. We can have like the super risky products, we can have like the medium products, and then you can have like super safe products. So I think it's really important to create the products that cater to the different time, liquidity, and risk preferences of different investors.
Yeah, I would definitely +1 on the yields in DeFi. People definitely like to chase that high APY, and the vast majority of yields to date have really just been the yield source has been just inflationary rewards, people giving away their own protocol token for liquidity mining. And that's why we didn't build too many yield products in the first year, 18 months of Index Coop. We kind of wanted to wait for more sustainable yield strategies to be built before we're going to build a structured product, right? Automate that strategy and put it into an index token that our users are going to buy. And recently we've we've seen some more sustainable yield sources emerge, like where you get yield from actual trading fees or from borrowers. We're going to do one with notional finance soon, using their fixed lending. So you can get not only a yield source that's sustainable and not from inflationary tokenomics, but they actually have fixed rate yield that we can lock in for a year for users. So we're seeing, I think stablecoins and yield are like the killer use cases of DeFi so far, but you need to look out for the yield source to make sustainable. So you're not just going to have to rebalance or, move from farm to farm chasing the next big APY.
Yeah, definitely good points. And that's, as you mentioned, that's not super sustainable. We did see some developments in that with like kind of the like when protocols kind of can bid against each other to determine their liquidity. So curves kind of changed to that method. So just little ways of trying to increase capital efficiency and, ensure that there's not a huge outflow of cash. Because, we have seen that in the bull market there where, liquidity is jumping around. It's jumping to each chain just because they have the higher APY. And then, sometimes that's not necessarily worth it either. And then, as a protocol that's developing and, there's all these different integrations that people are looking for, like, Convex comes up and everyone's like, well, integrate that right away so we can get that in our fund system. And, you go to integrate that and now the APY, once you integrate it, is lower. So you're kind of chasing that high and it's not necessarily sustainable for the long term if you're always providing these dev resources to these protocols that may not be around in a few months or years, right? So it's definitely hard to determine how to assign your dev resources and ensure that you're kind of integrating all this blue chip stuff and stuff that's going to create a robust platform. So I think for me, one of the challenges is kind of determining which products you're going to integrate and provide dev resources for. And then the other big challenge, I think, is around smart contract risk and kind of the how new the industry is and how maybe new the auditors are on this kind of fund system. Because, most of these auditors are just dealing with traditional farming protocols, and they've seen the contract 20 times. It's all forked from the same couple contracts, Uniswap, SushiSwap contract, whatever, right? But as we're developing these new systems, they're kind of new contracts, new ideas, new risks, right? So I think that's probably the biggest one for us and for me, kind of thinking about the challenges, right? So definitely something that I think we all need to keep on top of, and I'm sure everyone is putting their best foot forward in that regard. So cool. So in terms of kinds of investors that your structured products are targeting, is it more important to target kind of the retail market, or is it more important to target the institutional investors, or how are you guys kind of looking at which products to integrate and thinking about your potential markets?
I can go first. I could go back to the state of adoption that I commented before. I think right now DeFi has like these 30,000 users, and they're also right now, even though we're building Babylon to bring this vision of helping people create money through DeFi and through crypto, and our goal is to create $1 billion in wealth every year, which means that Babylon would need to manage around 20 billion, 30 billion in wealth. But at this point of the cycle, there are only these 10, 20, 30,000 users that all DeFi is competing to gain their attention. And these users, again, usually have the money, have the time, and have the knowledge to do it themselves. So it has been hard, and Cruz mentioned this as well. I mean, to build these structured products and to cater to these people, because you are always fighting the last war, and you mentioned this as well. So keeping up with the pace of development is also hard. But going back to the how to create these products to cater to these people right now, for example, in Babylon, we are not running investment clubs or gardens. That's how we call them ourselves. But we provide the tools so people can create their own investment clubs and they can configure them whichever way they want to. For example, one of our biggest gardens is the stable garden. And as Chris mentioned, I mean, one of the most popular use cases right now is farming with the stables, and especially in our market is a no-brainer because you can just deposit DAI in this case, that is the reserve asset of this garden, and get exposed to the best yield farming opportunities that are at the moment. The cool thing about Babylon is like for each of these communities, like the stable garden, we have like 3, 4, 5 experts that are managing and then are looking at the market, keeping an active role, watching for opportunities, and then they are switching strategies when they see fit. And for LPs, what we investing together through a garden gives them the benefit of a reduced gas cost, because instead of having to go into Carve and Convest yourself, that can cost you a lot, you are splitting that cost with the other 50, 100 or 200 members of the garden. And then the other benefit of investing in structured products like index products of our products is that people get a kind of like a shield for taxes. This is not taxable advice, and this depends on your jurisdiction, but usually when you buy a token, that's a taxable transaction. So for example, if you were to enter Carve and then enter Convex, each one of these operations is a taxable transaction. But if, for example, you deposit into this investment club or in this Coop index and then just change DAI for that token, then you do that. And then when you exit, you do the opposite. But then all the things that the index that's inside, or all the things that a Babylon garden or investment club does inside, is potentially not a taxable transaction. So I would say, again, reduce gas fees, then a shield for taxes, and then also that you don't need to manage 24/7, and you don't need to be glued to the screen to keep up with DeFi, because it's a 24/7 job and it's never stopping. So these structured products, like all the ones that we are doing here, like Furucombo, Enzyme, or Index, or us, just provide people a way to delegate that responsibility to people that are doing this 24/7. And it doesn't need to be a single person. Like in Enzyme, in Babylon, you can have a community that shares that load together. And then on Babylon, we also give this additional benefit that by investing in a garden of Babylon, you also get to own the whole protocol, and we have a non-inflationary token. And it's like whenever you buy a Vanguard stock or whenever you buy a share of Robinhood, you also get a share of Robinhood itself or a share of Vanguard itself. So going back to the use cases, again, right now we have like the stable use cases, that is the stable garden to generate yield through stables. And the other one that is really popular is the Fountain of ETH, that is this garden that just generates yield for Ether based on staking strategies. And one of these strategies was similar to the Cruz mentioned, like a leverage STETH. That one we have to unwind it because the volatility was getting so high, and STETH is depegging more and more. But right now, it's basically this garden is basically splitting the capital between opportunities in Stakewise, Rocket Pool, and Lido. So you get kind of like a diversified staking return product. So I would summarize it like stable products, and also products that let you grow your Ether without being exposed. Basically, delta neutral versus dollar. I'll stop there, Cruz.
Yeah, definitely similar benefits from Index Coop as far as you're outsourcing the management of your assets to another party. You're getting gas efficiency, you're getting tax efficiency. As Ramon mentioned, like any of those rebalances while your funds are inside of the smart contract is not taxable then for you, which is great. But going back to who are our like customers, what they look like. certainly, yeah. In this era we're in, we've got mostly only early adopters. So we have on-chain retail as kind of one of our primary customer bases, and then we do have some institutional. A lot of interest in our products. We're talking to a lot of them, and the cycle is longer for them to do the due diligence. But we definitely have some on-chain institutions and crypto native hedge funds enter into some of our products as well. And then DAO Treasury is a really big market segment for us. We want to help on-chain organizations diversify their treasuries out of their native token and put any Ether stablecoins that they've raised to work productively to increase their runway. And recently, we actually got our first product listed on a centralized exchange. So that DPI product I mentioned earlier, again, it's our flagship product. It's a market cap weighted index of DeFi. Got listed on Gemini's exchange, and that was the first structured product of any kind to be listed on a centralized exchange. That opened up a whole new world of opportunities for us as far as getting our products listed on off-chain applications and organizations, kind of like DeFi mullet apps, where there's like kind of a simple, fintech sort of use interface for the end user, but they go through Gemini's custody and exchange to get exposure to our assets. So we're now like integrating Index Coop products potentially to RIAs have access through Gemini. There's like integration platforms like OnRamp, Invest, and Eaglebrook that are specifically designed as like a UI to get financial advisors to get their client assets on chain and into crypto. That's a huge market segment that I'm working on. That's kind of my North Star actually for what I'm building at Index Coop. My dad's a financial advisor. I've heard him take so many calls from his clients, demanding exposure to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and kind of this new world they're hearing about through the media, but don't have direct exposure to without a Bitcoin spot ETF or kind of the simple tools that folks are familiar with in TradFi. So really keen to get financial advisors on chain and into crypto structured products. And then there's also integrations to get DPI now in stuff like retirement accounts. You can certainly buy stocks and whatnot in your retirement account. DPI is finally kind of available to that market segment as well, now that it's been on a centralized exchange. And then we're definitely working on getting our other products listed on a centralized exchange. So NBI, the Metaverse Index, another one of our big kind of passive thematic indices, kind of going through the diligence process to get that listed on some centralized exchanges as well, and then open to the whole world of integrations there off-chain. Question actually for Ramon. I'd love to know if you see a future of your users interacting with Babylon without going through the Babylon UI per se, where you guys become more of like a money Lego that could potentially plug into DeFi mullet type apps. If you look at like Robinhood and Coinbase both, I think are building new segments of their UI where they're going to have like non-custodial on-chain integrations available to their users. Do you think Babylon will be available without using the Babylon UI? Is that part of kind of the vision you're building towards?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we basically want to build the tools to help facilitate this creation of investment clubs to fit your investment use case and to fit the needs of your clients. And we already got some interest to create these white label solutions for some hedge funds or some investment advisors. So we are starting to get some interest. So we are thinking, but Babylon, even right now, everything is trustless. Our Garden Contrast investment clubs are verified on Etherscan. So you could even use it right now without going through the UI. We need to make that process simpler, but we are definitely gonna invest more on that. And also the use case you mentioned for treasuries is also one that we are looking into. And the cool thing about Babylon is like we also integrate with, for example, within this Coop. So some of our gardens have invested in indexes, tokens like Metaverse Index and DPI or even ETH-Maxi. So we just want to help the ecosystem as much as possible, and we really see this as a positive sum game. So and the asset management space is going to be so huge that there is a space for everyone. So we really want to help bring people from TradFi, from people that are already in crypto, people that have bought their first Bitcoin on Coinbase, but they have never used MetaMask. For example, one thing that I think will help transition us from the early adopter phase to the early majority are things like what Coinbase just released 2 weeks ago, the Coinbase SDK, Pay SDK. So users will be able to just buy directly from their checking account connected to Coinbase. They can buy directly from your website. I mean, it needs to get even easier, so as easy as Robinhood, but I think it's a step in the right directions, like having the ramps a lot easier, so people can use it like a TradFi, like a Web2, like a SaaS, like a fintech app.
Yeah, I just want to second what Ramon said there too, is just, working together. It's a huge space. There's going to be room for everyone. And the way you really perpetuate yourself forward at this point is just, working together, working to integrate, looking at not each other maybe as your competitors, but, in a way that you can help to build a more expansive and inclusive space. So definitely, glad that, both you guys are on board with that kind of mentality, as we're so early in this. And that's really what, brought DeFi forward in the beginning, is kind of that. And crypto in general is just that inclusivity and, having contracts available for everyone to see, having everything available on the blockchain. So, I think that's ultimately why everyone is so interested in this space, and just a way to kind of give back to the people a bit more, right? So, super excited then to kind of hear that Index Coop has taken the first step to kind of get their products onto the centralized exchanges. And then, it's always the most difficult in the beginning. And then once the floodgates open, more people will be exposed to this kind of structured products. And again, we're just at the precipice of this, and we're really going to be seeing how this expands in the next year to 5 years. So pretty interesting. And then just the other benefit too that Cruz mentioned is, and I think Ramon a little bit, is they're around taxes and DAOs. Companies right now spend a lot of time trying to, to hide their tax events and stuff like that. So, if you can kind of create structured products around kind of DAOs, it kind of opens up the space a little bit more to these companies that are maybe trying to find tax breaks in that. So we could see, a huge influx of companies or users from that segment as well. So very interesting. So thanks for your comments on that. How are you guys keeping up with kind of this multi-chain, multi-protocol world? We have like 30 EVM chains now. There's tons of layer 2s. Do you stick with Ethereum? Do you look at maybe expanding to as many chains as possible? Do you look for ones that maybe there's highest TVL, or what kind of factors are you looking at to keep kind of up with, how fast everything's moving?
I can go first here. Basically, I have an unpopular opinion here, because Babylon, we have not chased other layer 1s. We have not chased other layer 2s, because I have the conviction that it was too early, and still for creating these investment clubs or creating these structured products, I think the most important thing is security. So you always want the highest security. For us, you mentioned before as well, the development cost of having to integrate with all these protocols to be able to offer these opportunities then to our users, so they can create the strategies using these protocols. And if on layer 1, on Ethereum, we have integrated with 20 protocols, do you imagine that if we integrate with 6 layer 1s and with 5 layer 2s, the number of protocols and the number of integrations and the number of new things popping up every day is exponential. And another reason for this is for us in Babylon, because we let users share the gas costs. The transaction cost has not been such a big problem for us. We even let people deposit for free on mainnet. So they can deposit gas free, and they can deposit via signature without spending any ether. So for us, the transaction fees have not been this huge blocker. But moving forward, I'm convinced that the future is going to be like a multi-chain future where a few, it's not going to be 20, it's not going to be 30, but a few, probably 5 to 10, and maybe following power law distribution will be the winners. But I'm still convinced that you should always optimize for higher security for the investment class, at least when they have millions in assets under management. But then what we are going to do is like focus on cross-chain liquidity. And cross-chain opportunities. For example, let's say that you have this investment club or this mutual fund that you create on Ethereum, but then there is this opportunity on Arbitrum that pop up, and you want to create a strategy that leverage that. So the tech, unfortunately, is not there yet, but that's where we are going in, hopefully as soon as possible, as soon as this is technically viable, safe, and reliable to do so. We will move in that direction.
Yeah, for us, Index Coop is multi-chain already. The first expansion we did was getting our products onto Polygon. It was very important for us to find the low fee opportunities for users to onboard into our products. Part of our mission to make crypto investing simple, safe, and accessible. The emphasis on the accessibility that got us onto Polygon early on. And then now we have all of our products, not quite all of our products, all of our sectoral indices, not the leverage tokens, are available on ZK Sync's layer 2 through a really great integration with Argent Wallet. Is the primary vehicle that users use to access our products on ZK Sync, but you can also just buy them on Zigzag's exchange through your regular like MetaMask wallet. But we integrated with Argent earlier this year in the spring. There's a really simple fiat to layer 2 on-ramp that they have using Apple Pay. It's a really, really great user experience for all. Everyone complains about how the UX of crypto is not quite there yet. This is like one of the best products there is, in my opinion, the Argent Wallet. If you kind of just download the Argent Wallet and tap on the invest button, there's a huge graphic with crypto index products and then all of our stuff there for simple options for users. We think this is hopefully what a lot more apps are going to look like in the future, kind of in that DeFi wallet space that I mentioned. You know, a lot of apps like a Celsius or the next generation of Celsius look really simple UX, but then onboarded their user funds into like Anchor Protocol and lost money on UST. We think it's important to have truly decentralized and transparent options, like on the front page of apps that users can get simple access to. We're also on like Zapper and Zarion, on the Discover page, right? If you're looking for crypto indexes. But higher level on the multi-chain, like we would love to have our products available everywhere that users have like demand for them. Like potentially on like a Solana right now, there's some people that would buy our products, but yeah, we just don't have the developer resources to port our stuff over to non-EVM chains. But it's not too complicated to kind of bridge the Index Coop products around from layer 2 to layer 2. So you can buy it on mainnet, bridge it to Polygon, bridge it to ZK Sync, and round trip it back if you want. Composability of DeFi is really great there. And then in the near future, we'll be launching some products on Optimism as well. But the liquidity in TVL just hasn't scaled to where it's feasible to launch a large product there. But we've got one I'm really excited about. It's a market neutral yield product that we're going to be launching on Optimism. And what really kind of encouraged us to do this was there are some like layer 2 native applications now that like things that could only be done on layer 2. If you look at like, there's a lot of options protocols on the Arbitrum, right? Something like a DopeX. And then if you look at what Synthetics and that whole ecosystem has been building on Optimism, there are some really exciting kind of new opportunities that are native to layer 2. And we'll definitely be building products off of those new use cases on Optimism and Arbitrum in the near future. But it's definitely been a balance trying to find the right accessible venues for users to onboard in your products, with Ethereum layer 1 fees being what they are, you kind of have to explore what's happening in layer 2. And it's an exciting time. There's been significant advancements made over the last year, 18 months in the accessibility of on-chain products.
Great. So it seems like both of you then are kind of thinking to stick with Ethereum and focus, I guess, on layer 2s. I know Polygon 2 is a big proponent of the layer 2s. They're developing a bunch of kind of layer 2 chains. So for both of you then, that's kind of the main focus then is around sticking with that kind of security and the kind of the main chain.
Yeah, for us, I could say it's a bit difficult. It's a bit different than for Index, for example, because in Index, they create the indexes and it's the tokens, and then the tokens can be bridged to every other EVM, and that's great because it's really easy for retail users to access them from any other layer 2. For us, it's actually quite complicated, all the tools that we have built to let users create these investment clubs, join this investment club, vote on the capital allocation of these investment clubs, and then create these strategies on the fly, because all of our gardens, all of our investment clubs are dynamics. They are actively managed. For example, you can create an investment club, and then that investment club can switch strategies every 2 or 3 days. And these strategies are also created on demand through the UI that generates a smart contract for each one of them. So for us, it's actually quite complex because we integrate with 20 protocols on mainnet layer 1, and the protocols are different in other chains, in other layers. Even if some of them are the same, there are still different addresses. So it's quite an undertaking. So I think the next step is moving. Of course, Arbitrum and Optimism is where if we deploy the whole protocol, we'll deploy it there. But our hope is we will only deploy our whole protocol on Ethereum. But for example, our investment class that are the biggest, like the Stable Garden or the Fountain of ETH, that are a great place where you can either get return on your stables or grow your Ether without being exposed to the dollar. We may bridge those tokens the same way that the Index Coop does with DPI or with the Metaverse Index, so other people can just buy the tokens from a layer 2. They couldn't get the other advantages like we give, like you will be like being able to vote on investments and being able to create the strategies from layer 2, but they will at least be able to get exposure to the structured product, and then that's a benefit that we can offer through our communities. So you can create, or if you are a hedge fund, or if you are a family office and you want to create for whatever reason this product, and then you want to offer it to your clients, then depending what your clients are, make sense. But again, we think it's a bit too early for some of these reasons, and we are optimizing for security because especially now this market, preserving capital and taking really seriously security for us is top of mind. Me and 2 other members from our team, we worked before at Open Zeppelin. We have performed a security audits. We have a bug bounty program on Immunify. So we don't want to switch to another chain and kind of spread us too thin and sacrifice security.
Yeah, just to highlight kind of from my perspective what he's explained there. Like, so for Index Group, the products, the full protocol is deployed on Ethereum for stuff like the DPI, Metaverse Index, etc. Like, there's a smart contract there on Ethereum that holds all of the underlying assets in the smart contract. And then we issue the index tokens, the actual DPI token, the MPI token that you hold in your wallet, like against that vault. All of our products are permissionlessly redeemable for the underlying assets. So you can take that DPI token and redeem it through the smart contract, and you'll get back a basket of Uniswap, Aave, Compound, et cetera, all the components. And then that DPI index token, all of those index tokens can be bridged to ZK Sync, but the actual smart contract that holds the underlying assets is not deployed on ZK Sync, right? Just the index token. So you can still bridge around that that token that is redeemable for the underlying assets in the vault. And that's where the composability of ERC20 tokens is really nice to be able to bridge that around without having to redeploy the whole protocol. But we have like our index governance token sits on Ethereum, right? If you want to vote on new product roadmap or whatnot, you need to have the index token on Ethereum to vote. Sort of similar breakdown to, with Babylon, with the full protocol being deployed in Ethereum. Sounds like there's some potential for some for the tokens that represent ownership of the vault to be bridged around, but not currently. Ramon, would it take any like big rewrites to make basically the deposit receipt for the Fountain of ETH bridgeable around to the other layer 2s?
No,
Sounds like
just liquidity. Really. Yeah. So we are. It's in our timeline to do it during the summer even. It depends what's the state of the market. But yeah, and clearly you guys have been an inspiration with DPI, and I have been a user of DPI since you guys released it now years ago. So I think it's a really nice way of getting your products on other chains without having to deploy your full protocol. So we can offer at least the LP side, so for investors to participate in this product from other chains, while the manager and the creating your own investment club, creating your mutual fund, that will always stay on Ethereum.
Nice. Yeah. So it just takes the cross-chain liquidity and make sure that the bridging and arbitraging is always happening, so that the token doesn't start trading at a crazy premium or discount on other layer 2s.
Thank you. Yeah, I may pick your brain on that once we are ready to launch.
Sure.
Yeah, and I guess the nice thing about the index Coop tokens is they are permissionless. People can move them around as they like. Of course, liquidity is always a problem, but if there's a lot of inflow in towards one direction, kind of that market will start to build itself up anyways, right? So very interesting kind of product that anyone can kind of get involved in. So if you do have lots of liquidity, help us out, bring your funds, and that'll help perpetuate the whole industry forward. So so I believe that's the last question we'll get around to. We can kind of open up the floor to anyone here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come up as a speaker, and then we'll just get some kind of closing thoughts. So I'm with Furucombo. This is FuruRadio. We just recently launched our funds product, which is going to be on the Polygon network. So right now it's whitelisted fund managers, but basically anyone will be able to create their own fund once we open it up to the public. Once testing phase is done, you can create your own fund, and then you can utilize the create mode to kind of compose your own strategies and earn management fees. So we will also be releasing that on Ethereum, and then kind of looking at expanding composability, adding farming platforms, other maybe fund tooling options, leverage, that kind of thing. So check us out, check out the fund product, and let us know what you think. And so you can also follow me at Blazar Trading on Twitter and the Furucombo. And again, if you haven't visited, it's furucombo.app, and you can check out the tooling that we have there. Cruz, do you maybe want to shout out Index Coop and your Twitter, and then Ramon?
Yeah, for Index Coop, the handle is just at Index Coop. I'll share a tweet into the space here. If you want to follow us, you can click sign up for our newsletter. It's right there on the Twitter profile. It comes out every Wednesday. So I see our lead newsletter writer is in here. So curious to see what he's getting our users up to speed on now. What could you possibly have to add? So little going on in the DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah, thank you. For us, Babylon Finance is our Twitter handle, and then Babylon.finance is our website. And then you can also follow me, and you can click on my profile here. And then I wanted to thank you, Furucombo, for hosting this. And I could say that Furucombo was kind of like the first product that truly delivered the vision of this DeFi building, Lego building blocks to be able to create a structured product. So the original UI of Furucombo was like an inspiration of Babylon, our wizard for people to create strategies. And I think I'm really excited that Furucombo now has moved in the fun direction. I'm looking forward to see the fans evolve.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. So yeah, if we have anyone that has any questions, feel free to ask to come up. I'll check the Discord here. So again, you can check out Index Coop at indexcoop.com, and you can check out Babylon at babylon.finance. And definitely check out both their products, what they're building. Again, it's key to kind of work together and see what others are building and diversify your portfolio, right? So you can do that easily with the Index Coop tokens. And so it's super awesome where we see this industry going. Do you guys have any closing thoughts on kind of structured products or anything else that you want to add?
No, thanks for hosting us. Index Group's going to keep building new structured products. We're going to build out a full suite of yield products this year, as I mentioned, some delta neutral products that simplify a basis trading strategy that hedge funds and big money have used for a long time, but we're going to democratize that to retail. And we're going to build stablecoin yield products. We're going to keep building more ETH yield products, and follow along. We've got plenty of runway to keep building through the bear market, build new products. We think that for the next bull cycle, people will have a lot more options to allocate responsibly into structured products.
Same. The bear market is really painful. I know many people are hurting, us included, but we are building, and all of us here, all crypto, we are building what hopefully will become the new financial infrastructure of the future. And this financial infrastructure will support hopefully a lot more billions that it supports now. That DeFi, I guess, right now today is back only 3 billions, but this should get to trillions in the next decade. And this is one of my highest conviction bets. And to get there, we need to make structured products that are really clear and transparent about the risks and can protect the user, maybe reducing a little bit the APY, but providing a consistent, reliable, and dependable way to grow wealth, because in the end is what the people want, like a place that they can compound wealth, so they can have a better life. Because we believe that when people have the financial stuff figured out, then the world will get a better place. In Babylon, the name actually comes from one of the traditional books of wealth management and personal finance, The Richest Man in Babylon, that, by the way, I recommend everyone to read. It just goes back to that. What are the basic rules to grow your money? So then money is not the most important thing, but if money is not well taken care of, it's kind of like playing a video game on hard mode. So you don't want to, if you can, you want to forget about that, so you can focus on helping others, creating things, and make the world a bit better for the future. So let's build and let's get there. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, everyone that attended today will get a OAT for participation. If you haven't been reached out by the Furucombo Twitter, just DM the main account your Ethereum address, and we'll make sure you get added on there, and you'll be able to collect your OAT. So thank you very much, Cruz, again from Index Coop, and Ramon from Babylon for being here. It was a fantastic chat.
Thank you. Stay safe out there.
Take care.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for attending, and we'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.